today?
We are doing a cut and braids.
Okay, cool. So what keeps you coming back to me?
Always on time, professional, and makes me look clean as ever. The wife loves it.
All right, happy wife, happy life. All
Mm-hmm.
right, let's get into it.
As you can see, this is the before. Let's get into the process. So I start off with the middle part. He gave me creative freedom with the braid style and the haircut, so I had a lot of fun doing this. For this style, I start off with the middle part, and I just go over it as many times as I need to make sure that everything is balanced and proportionate on both sides. I did do a style similar to this one several years ago, I think 3 years ago now. So when I did it this time, I just did it a little bit differently, so it wasn't like the same exact thing. So on either side of the middle part, I am gonna do triangular individual braids. So I go in, I make my part, and then I start the braid, and I braid it maybe like half of the way down. It doesn't need to be like all the way down for this style because it's gonna go into another braid. So I am doing that all throughout the right side and the middle part. The reason I didn't start in the center was because like when I first got inspired by this style, the person that did it, that I got the inspiration from, they left like the beginning of the middle part open about like 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches. And I think that looks a lot better because when I visualize it in my head, just going from straight from the center, the beginning of it, I, I don't think it looks the best. So I just kind of like to go off of, just leaving a little bit of room in the front. So I'm just gonna keep doing that till I get to the bottom, the nape area of the scalp. So I am doing the triangles all the way down. Sometimes I'll leave a little bit of room, like 1 inch, like I did in the front, but this time I just felt it was necessary to just go all the way down. So as you can see, and you'll see in a little bit, I just took it all the way down. So now we're on the other side. You already, kind of set the foundation. That's like the hardest part, getting started and setting the foundation. But I think I set a pretty good foundation, and now I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna do the same thing on the opposite side. We already have a reference, so you're just gonna go based off of the size of the triangles that you have on the opposite side. The hardest part will be like the top point of it, but it's not that hard since you have it done on the other side. You can kind of eye it and then just get it as close as you possibly can. So I came to the realization that I've been in my barber suite for about a year. Actually, it'll be a year, I think May 1st or 2nd, and the difference a year can make, guys, is crazy. Because this time last year, I was at a shop that I was at for like 3, almost 4 years. And I learned a lot in that shop. Actually, that shop was like my dream shop to be at when I was in barber school. I was like, no, I want to work there. It seems like a really cool place to work. The barbers are really talented. I could learn a lot from them. And then I started going to classes there. That's key. Like if you want something, you want to work somewhere, or you want to move somewhere, you need to start like visualizing yourself already there, and then going to like surrounding neighborhoods that are close or stores that are close. For example, me, when I was in barber school, I knew I wanted to work there, so I followed the people that worked there, and I saw that the owner of the shop was having classes. So I was like, okay, you know what, let me sign up for these classes, let me put myself in this place, so they see my efforts, and I can, be there and kind of imagine myself working there in the future. So that's what I did, and I became cool with like the owner of the shop. And I by the time I was done barber school, I already was like, hey, I took a couple classes, I really like your shop, and the barbers that work there are very talented, I would like to get started working there. Can we talk about it, have an interview? So we had like an interview. I came in, I did a cut, I was explaining to him that I'm still, in barber school, so I need to finish that up first. And then, he took me on to start there, which was cool because when I first started, like fresh out of barber school, I went to barber school, so I had some experience, but I still had a lot of work to do. So it was very cool that he saw where I was at and kind of met me there and took me on, and, helped to shape me to be the barber that I am today. So I'll get back to that, but here I am doing like a little squiggly line. This is really fun. It's very like 90s. I remember when I was a little girl, like I loved the little squiggly lines when we did like ponytails and stuff like that. So I seen it was coming back in like braid styles, so I was like, yeah, let me add that into it. That's really cool. So now on either side I'm doing 2 big braids. So I did the outside one first because I felt like that would be easier. So you could follow along and see as I do that. So we'll get back to that story time. So yeah, I was, kind of manifesting being in that spot, in that shop that I wanted to work at. And then it worked out in my favor. I was there. I learned a lot and I grew a lot, not only in my career, but as a person. Cause we're not perfect, and like I have definitely like made my mistakes in my career and in my personal life and stuff. But that, looking back on it, I wouldn't take any of that back because it made me the woman that I am today. So yeah, I was working there, went through some trials and tribulations, like we all do. But I remember it got to a point where I couldn't grow anymore there. And I started to not be as motivated as I used to be. And I've always considered myself to be a very driven person and very big in like, my faith and my faith in myself, and knowing, oh, you could do anything that you set your mind to. But through time of just being somewhere where I felt, okay, I'm not supposed to be here anymore. It kind of took a toll on my mental health because I just didn't know what to do next. I always pictured myself working at a shop and working for somebody else. Like I didn't really want the responsibility of opening up my own spot. That just seems like too much work to me. And I was like, I don't really think I'm ready for all of that. But God had different plans. So after being there and getting to a spot where I was like depressed, I wasn't motivated anymore, I felt stuck. I felt, well, if I'm not supposed to be here, then maybe let me apply to different shops because I'm not motivated. And I felt like it was reflecting in my personality and onto like, the work that I was doing at that time and my attitude, all that goes along into it. So it's like, let me look at other shops. And I did an interview at one, but because I was doing booth rent at this shop and I was kind of happier with that rather than commission, the other shop wanted commission, it just wasn't a match. It wasn't going to work out. So, I still kind of held out hope, like, okay, maybe a change of pace and, just changes would be good. But ultimately they decided to go with someone else, and that was a blessing in disguise because I guess I wasn't supposed to work there anyway, because I didn't. So then I reached out to other shops and they didn't have any chairs open, or it just wasn't really good fit with like how I do my career and how I handle myself. So I was like, man, I'm doing all this stuff. I'm putting in the work. I'm praying. Why aren't things changing? But it's not on our time. It's on God's time. So I'm just kind of sitting there frustrated and depressed, and my books are slowing down. My money is slowing down. I was just, I was going through it. And, I lost a few things in the process, but then I got an even bigger blessing. My studio. And I realized I never thought that I would have my own barber studio. But, God had different plans, and I'm so happy that he did have different plans for me because it worked out. And I grew a lot in my career this year. I've taken a lot of classes. I'm even in a mentorship program. So it's just crazy how like you have visions and plans and things that you want to do, but it doesn't always align with like God's plan for us. So sometimes you have to get to a point where you surrender yourself to God. I think that worked for me. Everything wasn't going the way I wanted it to go, and I was very lost and confused. And I was like, wow, like I really don't know what to do. I'm putting in the work. I'm praying. I'm, reaching out to different shops. Nothing is working. So then someone told me one day, ask God to guide you. And I started asking God to guide me. God, I am lost. I have no idea what to do. I don't know where to go. I'm trying all these things. I'm out of options. So God, guide me. I surrender. Tell me what to do next. And then he did. And he sent people along the way to help. He works through others sometimes. So some guy, he owns a restaurant that I used to like stop by and get food at. He told me, look, Mary, you need to get your own spot. You need to check out this building that I work at. So I checked it out. He kept telling me for a couple years. And then one day I had a rough day at the shop and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go check it out. So I did. And then I got a tour there. And then, I reached out. I got approved for the suite. And now I'm here a year later. I have a bunch of new clients. My money is better. Everything is better. Sometimes you really just have to, when you're like out of options, you really just have to surrender yourself to God and let him guide you. I let him guide me, and it was the best decision I ever made. And now I'm here a year later, and things are looking up. So if you're going through a hard time, if you're confused, if you're trying, if you feel like you're out of options, keep going. Because you never know where, life is going to take you. And it might even be better than the vision that you had for yourself because you trusted the process. And, you surrendered. You said, look, guide me, and he'll guide you. So that's my story. And I'm really happy that a year later, April 20th was my last day at the shop. I was depressed. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was scared. But here I am. And you can do it too. So keep going. And this is the end of the the service. This is the haircut, the braids. He loved it. His wife loved it. He told me he keeps getting compliments. So I feel like I'm living in my mission. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Hopefully this video helped you. Have a good day and God bless you.